Imagine a sound in the deep woods, not the cry of a wolf or the hoot of an owl, but to see in the pages of a newspaper called the Ohio Republican. These are not just stories, they are accounts. They are warnings. And tonight we are going to read them and step back into the darkness from which they came. Our story begins not with a ghost, but with a man, a farmer named Elias Barlow. He was a man of the soil, his hands calloused from clearing the very land that now in the autumn of 1828 seemed to have turned against him. His farm was on the edge of the Great Black Swamp, a vast murky morass in northwestern Ohio, a place where the water was stagnant, the air thick with mosquitoes, and the light struggled to penetrate the dense canopy. It was a land that still belonged to the Wyandot, the Shawnee, and to things they knew better than to name. Elias's trouble started with his livestock, a sheep found drained marred by those same two tiny wounds. The other animals were frantic, wide-eyed with a terror Elias could not comprehend. He'd heard the whispers, of course. The German immigrants down in the river settlements talked of things. Nachtsehrers, corpse eaters. The Slavic and Hungarian travelers spoke of the button melted down from his wife's best dress, and he waited. The account in the Ohio Republican, dated October 29th, 1828, is stark. It tells of Elias's vigil, of the creeping cold that filled his daughter's room, a cold that had nothing to do with the season, of the window latch lifting, slowly, without a hand to touch it, and of the figure that entered. A man, tall and gaunt, dressed in the faded, outdated finery of a previous century. settlement followed the tracks. They did not lead into the swamp, as one might expect. They led to this small, lonely cemetery on the hill overlooking the town. And they stopped at a fresh grave. The grave of a man named Alistair Wexler. Wexler was a newcomer. He'd arrived the previous spring, a quiet, scholarly man from Transylvania who kept to himself. He died of a sudden fever, or so it was said. The soil on his grave was loose, as if it had been disturbed and then hastily replaced. They drove a stake of hawthorn wood through the creature's heart. The account describes a piercing shriek that seems to come from the earth itself. Then they decapitated him, filling the coffin with garlic from a nearby farmer's patch before setting the whole terrible mess ablaze. They watched until there was nothing hungry for knowledge needed bodies to dissect, and the legal supply from executed criminals was never enough. So they turned to resurrectionists, grave robbers. This particular night doctor, according to the paper, was unnaturally successful. He always found fresh subjects, but the rumors began to swirl that he didn't just dig them up, that he acquired them.
The article tells of a local drunkard, a man named Jem, who was known to all and feared by none. He vanished one night after leaving the tavern. The town constable, a lazy man, assumed he'd simply wandered off. But a young, ambitious printer's apprentice stood before the door and gestured. Old Man Hemlock emerged from his shack, his eyes glassy and unseeing, walking like a man in a deep trance. The doctor opened his cart. Inside, William saw not a corpse, but a clean, empty space. The doctor helped the old man, gently, almost courteously, into the cart. He closed the lid, and then he turned. And though William was hidden, shrouded in darkness, the night doctor's head tilted in his direction. From beneath the wide brim of the hat, William saw not eyes, but two But the night doctor was never seen again. Some said he was Lysander himself, using dark arts to procure his subjects. Others believed the doctor was something else entirely, a familiar spirit or a golem of sorts, created to do the professor's dirty work. The official record states that Old Man Hemlock simply disappeared, but William, the printer's apprentice, was gone. But one man, a guard named Samuel, had survived, left for dead in a ditch. Samuel told the sheriff a strange tale. He said the gang was led by a man who never spoke, a large man who moved with an unnatural silence and strength. During the robbery, one of the other bandits, a young, nervous fellow, had made a mistake, fumbling with the strongbox. The silent leader had turned. In the moonlight, Samuel saw him punished, his hands covered in blood. He still would not speak. As they moved to apprehend him, he fought with a feral, terrifying strength. It took 4 men to subdue him. When they finally wrestled him to the ground and bound him, they pulled the bandana from his face. The account in the paper is brief but haunting. It said his tongue had been cut out at the root long ago, and on his chest, burned into the flesh, was the symbol of the Black Hand. He was not the mastermind. He was a weapon, a living, breathing weapon created and directed by a criminal mind that remained, and to this day still remains, utterly unknown.